I'm back again. Hopefully you all had a great night. For those of you who all did not make it out last night, shame on you. We had an amazing time. I'm about to say, bro was out here killing it. He sang Usher Superstar for us. It was amazing. Y'all missed it. But y'all, if y'all can make it, please make sure y'all come out tonight because, you know, today's a half a day and it's probably only like 20 minutes away from here. And you will have the ability to network and ask questions that you may not have the time to get out here, especially because we have to move some speakers over from yesterday to today. So without further ado, let's get started. Trust fund, baby, status and cash flow. So when I say the word status, what do you all think of? Ranking, just yell it out, yell out some words. So, well, for me specifically, when we speak on status, I'm talking about your social and political status. The relationship that you have as it pertains to how the government sees you, the way the people around you see you, pretty much is your social wealth and your political wealth in physical perspective more so. So right here, this is a section from the Bill of Rights, the 14th Amendment. In this, the main reason for the 14th Amendment, because the 14th Amendment, it actually expresses who is considered to be a United States citizen. And right now we all are in the United States jurisdiction. This is important because when we talk about the manner in which you're laying out your documents, your trust documents, what jurisdiction are you dealing in, who has control, who has the ability to come take things from you and try and also lock you up for things that you may not know about. So always be mindful of the position that you're contracting in as it pertains to your status. So right here, section 1 of 14th Amendment. All persons, y'all know what a person is? Thank you. You said it right. A person is a legal fiction in law, and I will show you the definition of this. So whenever somebody articulates a person, especially in legal language, they are not talking about you, a living soul. They're talking about a corporation, an all capital entity. So when the United States specifically says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction equal protections of law. You see that word person in there a lot of time, right? I might say, this is, some of y'all probably already heard this stuff, but I'm not making none of this stuff up. Yeah, I don't use that word, illegal fiction, but yes, if you look at the way that they present mail to you, business in law can only do business with what? Another business. That's the main reason why you are created as a business so that the government can contract with you. So when they're talking about a person, they're talking about your first business that you were given. The same one, that all capital entity that you are supposed to be in representation of, the one that you're supposed to protect. And that actually was established as a Sister-Q trust. So the government has established a trust and they operate as your trustee without your knowledge. And this is the main reason why they're able to grant you privileges and things like that. They have a trust. I showed y'all a treaty, my treaty agreement. They have a trust with Indians. They have a trust with my family. This is what they do because they need a business to do business with another business. They cannot deal with living souls because that is what? Equity, chancery court. That's a completely different system. We went over that yesterday, right? There's statutes and codes for corporations, persons, which are established in the United States, and then there's rules for living souls, equity, and just and fair principles. Understand the difference as you contract in this world. Section 2, I'm not going to read all this, there's a lot. So representatives shall be appointed among the several states. So this is more so talking about how they're expressing the powers and the people who have the legal ability in order to come and roll into these situations. But right here, any of the male inhabitants, such state being 21 years of age. All right, so just being in mind, keep in mind, the individuals who wrote this document when they established, most of these were European males. So when they're talking about a male of the age of 21, they're not talking about men that look like me. They're talking about men that look like them. So keep that in mind. European, what we consider white males, that's colorable law, so I always say European. European males of the age of 21 are protected. Persons are protected. Let's see what other entity is protected here. Right here, third sentence. Each state excluding Indians, not taxed. So far in the information, we have found 3 entities that stated they are protected in the 14th Amendment. Persons, European white males above the age of 21, and Indians. If you're not on that list, you don't have protections here, unless you have been considered to be a naturalized person, or you have came and been granted citizenship in a corporate entity status. Understand your relationship as you contract in this world, right? All right, so those were really the highlighting points of the 14th Amendment. Please look at this document. This is the United States Constitution is the rules and regulations for how we operate on this land mass. If you want just and fairness, when we talk about common law trust, you can't have a common law trust if you don't understand the rules for over here. Because either you're going to have something that comes from the states, or you're going to deal with this one, the big one, which all of them have to have a contract in order to even have their state constitution, right? So I go to the lesser. I ain't gonna be long. All right. So right here, individual definitions, legal meanings. As a noun, this term denotes a single person, an individual. Once again, a single person. Oh, and then I wish Goody would have came. Shout out to her, because she do consumer law, right? And sometimes we have this conversation of because consumer law is for individuals, but you think an individual is you. But I just read right there, individual is a what? A person still, right? So when we talk about consumer law is still for corporations, because the whole thing is based under statutes and codes, and it's for all capital entities. People on mixing up their personal relationship with you, how you feel about you, the thing you can pinch with something that's on a piece of paper, not the two same things. So I'm gonna make sure that you all get access to a lot of this. These are basic definitions from legal dictionaries. I make sure I source everything that way is not my personal feelings. That way you can read it for yourself and come to your own conclusion and understanding. I'm not telling you what it is. That's the reason why I got the definitions from the law. All right, U.S. Code 7, person or persons defined. The word person or persons, wherever used in section 1 to 10 of this title, shall be deemed to include corporations and associations existing under, authorized by the law of either the United States, the law of any of the territories, the law of any state, or the laws of any foreign countries. Right there, clear and day, with the law code. A person is not you. It's a piece of paper. It's all capital entity, right? You're supposed to control your person and leverage it. You're supposed to use that to get credit. You're supposed to actually capture that person, make a claim on it, and then use it to your benefit. Because if you don't, the United States will. That's the whole reason how they fund this situation. How are we trillions of dollars in debt when the United States is nothing more, the government is nothing more than a piece of paper? All of the working force comes from you. Remember, I asked you all a question. Money is what? Gold and silver, right? I told you the case, Merchant versus Bird. A bank cannot extend its own money. A bank is only supposed to give you its own money. It is not supposed to be lending you credit, but none of you get gold and silver when you go to a bank. Understand that all of this energy and credit is coming from you yourself. But if you don't manage your affairs, the trustee that you agreed to get into a contract with will, which is the United States. That's why you're granted privileges. Understand your contracts. Status, right here, 1670s, heights of a situation or condition, later legal standing of a person. So when I ask you about status right here, I'm talking more so about this one, legal standing of a person. If you ask my status, or if you ask me my nationality, anything, I'll tell you. I said it yesterday. I'm an American Indian individual, and I have a certain private status. But I understand my relationships. I have my documents in place, and everything has been put on the record. That way that I'm controlling my situation, and nobody else can come do that for me. If you want, I have trust in everything. If somebody wants to tell me what to do in my life, they can't, because I have it all laid out who controls what. And I also have it laid out what jurisdiction my family's in. These things matter. Got you. Standing. Standing. Overview. Standing or that's Latin. Capacity of a party to bring suit in court. Standing in state court. A state statute will determine what constitutes. Can't skip this part. A state court. A state statute will determine what constitutes standing in that particular state courts. These typically revolve around the requirements that a plaintiff have sustained or will sustain directly injury or harm in that. So with that stated, per in standing, somebody made a claim. So first in line, first in time. If you did something wrong to me, if I don't say nothing, you can get away with it. If I feel as if it was wrong and I go and make a claim against you, I have the original standing. I have the ability, I have the most leverage in the situation. That's why I always tell people, when you get into legal situations, it's always best to be the plaintiff instead of the defendant. You have way more leverage that way. So even if you are going through a case, I tell you, do a counterclaim, become the plaintiff. You have more leverage when you're the individual who's actually suing versus defending yourself. The person who tell is the one who don't go to jail. We know that. Standing, we just touched on that. That's standing continue. And the still is Scott versus McNeil. Great case. All right, Scott versus McNeil. A court of probate, in the exercise of its jurisdiction over the probate of wills and administration of estates, deceased persons has no jurisdiction to appoint an administrator of their estate in a living person. So in layman's, if I express that I'm not a person and that I'm a living soul and I have what we call this an affidavit of life, an expression that I'm a living individual, the state, the government cannot appoint an administrator over my affairs because I've expressed that I can handle my own things. This is what we call operating in the age of majority and not operating as a minority. When I say minority, most of you all think about complexion and skin, different races, right? Wrong. In law, minority means a minor. You are operating as a child. You are an adolescent. And that's why when we say majority, you are operating as an adult and you have the ability to control and manage all of your affairs. This matters because when you deal in law, the language is not the same. So in this particular court case, this saves you. So we always use this as a reference in order for us to leverage situations in order to say that we control our own affairs. Right. An affidavit is simple. It's a letter stating that you're telling the truth and everything is in order. So the way you make a legal affidavit, you express the title. So I usually do an affidavit of truth or, like I said, an affidavit of life. I put the information, the body in there, and then I also make sure that I have a third-party notary verify it. That way I have somebody from their government saying that all of these things are adequate or true, or at least that I'm the individual who did it. And then it also helps you in the court. Those are how it's 7 points to making a valid affidavit. Please take a picture of this. I'll step out your way. Proof of life document. This is the one I was just talking to you about, the affidavit of life. A proof of life document or life certificate as a form used by foreign governments and institutions to qualify. So I'm not making nothing this up, right? It's a foreign governments and other institutions use this to qualify prisoners and other beneficiaries living aboard for financial benefits. All of this stuff is about commerce. When I say commerce to you, that means, that's one of my favorite words. Commerce is an exchange of energy. It's also bartering of goods and services, and it has 4 definitions. I'm missing one right now, but one of my favorites is, like, y'all can look this up. Is sexual intercourse. That's why you gotta learn words, because who would have known that commerce actually means sexual intercourse? Right, right here. This is we hitting towards the end of it. All right, so the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, and the how. The who is you. The what is your status / business. The where is where we are right now. My people, we call this Turtle Island, the Americas. But the Americas is not the same as the United States corporate entity. It has a EIN number. You can go on the SEC.gov and go see it. The United States is a corporation, that's a piece of paper, and they have their own debt ledger, right? It's a business. Understand the difference between the two. When, age of majority. Anybody know what the age of majority is? Correct, 21. Manage your commerce, protect your business, stop future torts and trespasses. A future tort or a trespass is, as long as you got your stuff in place, you have your trust and things in order, you prevent yourself from being done harm. Like financial harm, like even like I told y'all, the situation with putting your car in a trust. You prevent situations when you have your protections already laid out for you. These are some of the steps in order to making sure that you have your things in order. We went over this yesterday. I showed y'all my genealogy line. You've seen all the way down from the chiefs to little chief, all the way to the current one, and all of us. Establishing trust and equity, between the trust fund club and everybody. Between the trust fund club and everybody, and even between what I do myself with the trust fund baby brand. make sure that you have a trust. The trust is one of your main starting points. And from there, remember, I showed you all the pyramid yesterday. Trust, business, charitable organization. And once you have them structured properly, then you can start expanding over to other business structures. Land record filing. This is the same thing, how I was able to prove that my family had all these different land patents that were over 500 acres. You source the records, you make sure you have them all. Commercial filings. Commercial filings is what we consider to be a UCC1, and we use this in order to make a public record claim, a specific way with certain affidavits, and we just want to make sure that the state is notified that we are doing these things and that we have these things in a trust. So the main reason why we do this is in order to make sure that the Secretary of State, which joined in 2009, has notice of everything that we are giving them. So if you inform one, it's their job to inform the other because they link them all. Because if you got a ticket in Michigan and you driving in Florida, can't they see it? So why you can't see my documents? Play with somebody who's stupid. Retitle the documents and make sure you handle your business. And this should be my last slide right here. Creating a cash flow system. Like, numbers don't look the same for me like they do for everybody else. Y'all gonna learn that. Like, I know this may be confusing, but this is my chart. So I call it my 10 and 10. I make a 10/10 algorithm, and I do this for myself probably like 3 times throughout the year. And I make a list of 10 things that I like/love to do. And I also see which are the most profitable right now in the world. So like a lot of people want to be, I just pick stuff that a lot of people like to do, and even some stuff I've done in the past. So social media influencer, podcasting, cannabis dispensary, consulting, model, barber, real estate, landscaping, tech founder, public speaker. From 1 to 10 is the order in which I should be setting these up so that I can segue into the other ones. And some things are interchangeable. That's the reason why you may see a slash in between. But I would start off with landscaping because it's super affordable. I can get a lawnmower, I can get a rake, I can run up some money, and then I can start enrolling. I can roll that over into my podcast, right? I can pay for my mics off the money I just got, and then I can get on screen and everything. And then you just keep on scaling. Based on that, I take my podcast energy, I take all them clips, I chop them up, and then I become a social media influencer. And then from that, we'll go down to 4. You know, you already taking pictures, you're on camera, you might as well look good while you do it, right? So just jump into the modeling stuff. Barbering, I know we got some barbers out here. I use a dry razor. But this is you can use the money in order so you can go to barber school from the other things. So you see how you use the first 3 and you use them to segue yourself into your larger tier dreams. Because if I want to be a tech founder, this costs. So I can use the money that I got from 1 to 9 in order to get here. But so I recommend all of you all do this step. Write down 10 things that you like/love to do, and then run them with the ones that are most profitable in today's society. And because the world changes, this is the reason why I have to do this often. Because one year, like, landscaping may be booming. And then, you know, we got off seasons in the winter and stuff, but podcasting is really taking off right now. I got homies who get $1 million months off podcasting. So it just depends on what you want to do and what's fitting for you, right? So number 1, make a plan, write it down. 2, have a clear vision. 3, set short-term goals and long-term goals. 4, company structures, types, and you know, like, I'm a no social security number. Like, I didn't tell you all that. Company name, logo. This is important when you start talking about brand and family business. You see, we brand everything. Coach Demond is super huge on that. And then website/social media. Make sure that you have a working number, not your main phone number, a number specifically dedicated to work. And you usually should have a 800 number because it makes it easier when they're trying to fund you down the line. Do free work. Parker, shout out to Parker, my co-host, my homie, even my children godfather. He was big on expressing to me how important the free work stuff is, because that's how he got into damn near the position he in. He shot J. Cole, Love Yours, and he didn't charge Cole for that. He shot it, and then he brought it to him, and it helped him to scale and project his business to a whole nother level. So free work helps. I even though y'all heard my prices, I still do free stuff every now and then. Every now and then. Open bank accounts. You know, what Nipsey say, you know, deposit and trust. Build paydex score. Use credit for the holding company to establish your, that's supposed to be your, excuse the typo, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9. So without, I'm gonna get out y'all here. Please take a picture, use this as a reference, and The 10 and 10 has been very helpful, especially in like the last 6 years of my life with me just being able to adjust and scale. Thank you all for your time.